Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. His Majesty King Abdullah stressed the importance of the full commitment to the timetable set for the evacuation of the old port site in Aqaba in preparation for the implementation of the third phase of the Marsa Zayed project. During his visit to the port city of Aqaba, the King stressed the necessity of cooperating with all concerned institutions to complete the evacuation of the old port site and hand it over at the beginning of next September, as Marsa Zayed project represents a promising investment value. The King stressed the need to provide high-quality services and facilities in the new port in a way that ensures the swift flow of goods, their storage and transport, in a bid to boost the competitive privileges of the Aqaba port regionally. His Majesty also chaired a meeting at the Aqaba Special Economic Zone Authority Commission to follow up on progress in a number of strategic projects in the city. The King highlighted the need to develop and diversify tourism products in Aqaba and build on its additional tourist privileges so it becomes an attractive tourist destination in the region. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates Ayman Safadi said the Syria Donor Conference, titled "Support the Future of Syria and the Region," is a step towards reaching a political solution to the Syrian crisis and providing support for Syrian refugees and their host countries. In his speech at the opening session of the conference, organized by the European Union and the United Nations, and in the presence of foreign ministers and representatives of some 80 countries and international organizations, Safadi said that finding a political solution that preserves Syria's unity and integrity should be a priority of the international community. On the sidelines of the conference, Safadi met with European Union Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini and other counterparts. During the meeting, the ministers discussed developments in the Syrian crisis and means to reach a political solution in the country. They also discussed developments in the Palestinian issue and efforts to break the deadlock in efforts to resolve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict on the basis of the two-state solution. Safadi also discussed with his counterparts bilateral relations and the humanitarian role played by Jordan to assist the Syrians. Also in Brussels, global representatives of governments and aid groups gathered to discuss the future of Syria and how to address the humanitarian crisis. International donors raised $4.4 billion in emergency aid for Syria and its neighbors, well short of the UN target for 2018, without money from the United States, which failed to submit a pledge. Britain and Germany offered new money for refugees at the conference, which brought together some 85 governments and aid groups. The European Union, which along with the United States is the world's biggest aid donor, is also struggling to agree with its member governments on a €3 billion package for refugees in Turkey. Meanwhile, on the ground in Syria, government planes targeted the city of Rastan in the northern Hims province with 4 airstrikes, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Videos uploaded to social media websites purported to show airstrikes on buildings near mosques in Rastan, followed by explosions and dark plumes of smoke rising. A Syrian government minister said his government plans to recover an opposition-held pocket north of Hims city soon after it completes surrender deals with armed groups around the capital, Damascus. Having taken back the largest rebel-held area near Damascus in eastern Ghouta in early April, the Syrian army and allied forces are close to recovering the remaining few pockets around the capital. Imagine your life without the internet, without technology, and without all the luxuries of modern machinery. This is what one farmer living in France's west coast decided to do by turning his back on new technology. 70-year-old Jean Bernard Juan is determined to preserve an ancestral peasant way of life. He still uses oxen to plow his fields, milks cows by hand, grinds flour manually, and tirelessly collects manure to fertilize the crops that feed his livestock. The farmer hopes to find a successor to preserve the traditional spirit of his farm, which he plans to donate rather than sell. Nonetheless, he recognizes that whoever follows will have to make changes as regulatory pressure becomes even tougher. In sports, former world #1 Novak Djokovic suffered a surprise second-round exit from the Barcelona Open when the Serb was beaten 6-2, 1-6, 6-3 by world number 140 Martin Klizin. Djokovic has not reached the last 8 of a tournament since last year's Wimbledon and has struggled with a long-term elbow injury. Second seed Gregory Dimitrov eased past Frenchman Gilles Simon 6-2, 6-1, while tournament's third seed Dominic Thiem swept past Spain's Juan Munar 7-6, 6-1 to book a place in the last 16. And finally, for a quick look at the weather, rainfall is expected in several parts of the country, accompanied with thunder and lightning at times. Amman tomorrow can expect a high of 17 degrees Celsius and a low of 11 degrees, while the weather in the port city of Aqaba will be warmer, with highs reaching 26 degrees and lows reaching 18. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news. I'm Nancy Khair. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.